So this is going to be kind of a lot of things at once. Trying to just see if thinking what I think on the average day and saying that, you know, while I just play Minecraft is going to make me better at speedrunning. But it also could be an excuse just to, I mean, like, I think that it could calm me while I do this, but I think it could also, like, I just think that it might help. So, essentially, I think that there's this weird confliction in me between feeling like the pessimism of thinking that the world is going to end, well, and being at, like, you know, the hands of the rich and powerful, and feeling like there's nothing I could do about it or anyone could do about it because we're just, you know, we're just our individual self and there's a whole world of issues. I think that that's, but I've been feeling that, but I've also been feeling an immense amount of hope that I could still find a way to be happy and, you know, make the change that I can. I think that that's possibly not a single-minded, like, that's not just a thought I have, that might be like a audience of people or a set precedent in someone's mind. They're hopeful while also being kind of dreading the future. And I think that that is kind of what I'm doing this, so I could maybe not think like that, and I can just be, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, how best to phrase what I'm feeling, because it's like, you know, it's not like it's this hugely complex thought. I'm sure, you know, it's pretty easy to understand for anyone who's really listening, because I'm sure that a lot of people have felt like this. But, you know, every story you hear in the news is being so, like, makes it feel hopeless. Same time, things could be going well for you, and you could still make a difference. It's like that narrative. It's that, like, moment. Especially, and I think that, you know, I understand that news kind of makes all things look bad. You know, news don't really report on the happy stories. I think that politically, it's way easier to lead in fear than it is to lead when the people are unified. I think that it's like, that's not also, you know, anyone who's seen the Hunger Games, you know, can see that thought and not be like, oh, what an inspired thing. Like, everyone kind of knows that fear leads best. So no wonder the news kind of, you know, highlights that as the main, you know, subject of its. What I'm trying to say is, I'm just I feel kind of stuck in a way, where I feel like I can't do anything and can do stuff at the same time, and all I get is the bad things when I know there's good out there. And it's been getting worse recently. You know, there's stories about the climate crisis and how there's, like, the irreversible clock, and there's water strikes, and there's the like, we are getting to the point of not being able to fix our past, and we're not really caring about that yet. And that kind of is scary, but at the same time, I don't know, you know, when we get to the point where it's irreversible, what does that exactly mean, you know? And what would we do to fix it? I think that, you know, humans have always managed to come back from horrible situations. So I feel like, you know, when the clock hits 0, it's not like the world's gonna explode. I think that, you know, we'll be on the decline. It doesn't mean everything is, you know, over, you know. it's not like once that clock is 0, there is nothing we can do. It says like it's irreversible, but, you know, I've seen science come up with ways to fix, you know, hundreds of things, and it's, you know, like, if we set our goals on a problem, we have a better chance of finding new ways of fixing it. But since we haven't set our sights on that problem, we haven't found maybe a breakthrough that we think we would. Same time, we've been trying to cure cancer for like ever and haven't found it yet. Even though we kind of have found a way to cure cancer generally, but not like every cancer in a needle. I'm just saying, once things get bad enough and people care enough, we might not be as screwed as everyone thinks. Which is kind of that hopeful piece, where it's like, no matter what, if you just try and live your best life, hopefully life will help you get through it. But I don't think that's gonna, at the end of the day, help me out of the mindset where I'm like, wow, things are really awful right now. I mean, one thing that's always stuck with me is when I was younger, my mom was talking about how she felt about having kids. She was like, when I was having you, the environment, like political environment, can you get a grip over there? Damn. There is lava pops nearby. She told me that she debated having kids because it was so not, it didn't feel like the right conditions. And the way I think of that is were there ever going to be the right conditions for something like that? Is it just a step that you got to take? I think it's one of those things where people say, quitting your job is hard, and everyone's going to look for the right time to do that. But it's more or less you have to just hope it'll be okay and take the leap, just because it'll make you happier now. There's a difference between impulse and there's a difference between, just doing something. If you know that you want to leave the job that you're at, and it's been something on your mind, but you've just been looking for the right, right paycheck, the right reason. Maybe it's just when you quit, you take the leap and see where you get to. Sometimes faith in the unknown is all you have to have to be able to reach greatness. And I think that that's kind of the end of that specific tangent. I'm not hearing a lot, but like, it's kind of a yap session over here. So it's like, not each thought is gonna form into one another. But I just think, I'm human. I think a lot of different things. This lava is not bubbling up enough for me to think that it's gonna be worth my time. I do think that, to a certain extent, problems in the world need to be solved by taking big leaps, which is probably the biggest problem nowadays, is because everyone, or at least enough people, need to be on the same page and kind of make life worse personally to see any actual change. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we're looking at such a big crisis with a bunch of things like water and pollution stuff. It's because, you know, one side of the political aisle would rather deny that there's a problem, and the other side there is a problem. But it doesn't mean that, like, you know, it's not that simple either, because, you know, not either side is completely right or wrong. And I can understand that with how I think that, like, both sides are wrong about certain things, right? You know, I don't think that's crazy to say. I was wondering why it seemed so not like I had everything. You know, it's not like one party is correct and one party is wrong. And that's what makes it so hard for people to get on the same page. Because, you know, we'd rather be, you know, the ones who on the right side of history, when we need to all come together on the right causes and leave the other stuff for another day. Especially with, you know, sometimes I think that we don't prosecute the right people. We don't all get behind a cause, which, you know, if you asked anyone on either side, they'd be like, oh yeah, I support that cause. But it's because, like, we'll hear about it and we'll hear came from the other side and be like, oh, well, they're wrong because it's just the other side. And I think that one of the biggest things, this is kind of going to be its whole own tangent, is that we kind of need to stop the powerful. Kind of need to eat the very wealthy. I don't like the expression eat the rich, because you could be rich and not, you know, rich, you know? I think it's the people with lifetimes worth of money that they don't use for anything helpful, and maybe not, you know, we don't gotta, you know, we don't have to end them, but we do need them to contribute what they have to make society better as a whole. And they know that, and they like their money, so they'd rather us foot the bill and destroy our lives than give up any of the money they've made, because it's their money, and they, you know, they get to choose that. And it's like, I think that's one of the most, like, irritating things about modern day is, like, people are like, well, it's their money, you know? Who are we to decide how they spend it? And it's like, under a lot of normal circumstances, yeah. But at the top of the food chain, they profit off of the, you know, exploitation of the lower class. And that money isn't really theirs because they don't work for it, you know? I think that it's easy to be, you know, I guess blue collar, white collar, like lower on the end and be like, well, I work for my money. That's how you assume money is made. And you go, I don't want to take their money. They worked hard for it. Where they sit all day, you know, buttering themselves up and or not buttering themselves up. That sounds kind of weird. But like buttering politicians up to make them not, you know, lose all their money. They'd rather play the politics game, make sure that the politics are in their favor, and just keep winning, you know. And I just don't think people are really grasping that it's not the same game for all of us, you know. Life in itself is unfair, yeah, but that doesn't mean that we should be subjugated to suffer forever because they wrote, you know, they made a website 30 years ago. Yeah, I wish I had better ways to say things, but I just think that to a certain point, money needs to be not pushed towards the upper echelon, and needs to be used for so many good things. And, you know, you get like philanthropy, and people will be like, well, this person just donated $1 million. And you're like, wow. And then they'll be in the headlines, and it'll be like, wow, what a great thing they did. And then you realize that $1 million is like a fraction of what they have. And then they'll come down to us and be like, hey, we need all of the little guys to come together and work on this. And it's like, yeah, but the thing is, when I donate, let's say I donate $100 to something, that's a tenth of my paycheck that I'm giving away. Where if you donated 1,000, that is such a small decimal of your money compared to mine that it's like, imagine if Bill Gates, Elon Musk, any of the, top brass tacks of society, the ones that are really up there on the multi-million billionaire list, donated a tenth of their money to something. I'm not going to say the problem would be solved, but I would be saying there would be a lot less issues. But it seems that the biggest thing that we're using money on nowadays, that we're funding money into, is things that actually divide us more than bring us together, which is, again, calculated. It's not an accident that happens. It's what they want, because it's easier to do that. I don't think it's incredibly hard to see it when you take a step back, that it's a game of numbers that like only a few people are really playing, and everyone would rather ignore it because they can't really do anything about it, or they believe that it's fair when it's not. Trickle-down economics is not going to work, because they're just holding it. They're holding it, and it's not going to be like, oh, well, don't worry. It'll eventually come back when it's tax season. They'll pay their dues, get hit pretty large, and it'll flow back into the economy and give the people who are in the lower divisions more abilities to do things and like survive. But since all of the money they have is untaxed, it's not coming back, which is, something that they know, which is, again, why they're so in the pockets of people who make laws, so they don't have to do that. And I think that it's both very simple and very complicated, because to fight them is to be basically looking at, it's like if a person with a medieval knight's sword tried to take on an entire military base, right? It's hard. It's not going to happen. And the sacrifice is too great for a lot of people. In a capitalist society, we've been kind of taught and trained to look out for our own best interests, and it's hard to do, and so for us to like make the sacrifices necessary to pull ourselves out of the shit we're in, it would like it's not impossible, but it's not, it has to have so many people doing the same thing. It's the Hunger Games story, but to do it in real life is quite literally like impossible. It just, like, to band together, and people have the right to be like, that shouldn't be asked of me because I didn't do this, and I shouldn't be paying an ultimate price for something that I didn't contribute to? Why am I paying the price for these actions? And that is correct. You didn't do this. But I'd rather be remembered as the person who tried to do something to fix it than remembered as the person who sat by because it wasn't their problem. And I think that voting isn't going to do that, to be honest with you. You know, every politician, every person who says they'll fight for the right thing is probably lying. Everyone has it's like a black and white world to the one that most people live in. There's us and them. And they, I'm sure that the things that we don't know about as a general public are, like, I just can't explain it. I feel like what I'm thinking is, like, how do we know that something like the Epstein files wasn't, like, fishy business, like little business compared to all the things we don't know about? It just, I don't have a good way to say it. It's just, essentially, we're kind of boned. It's just basically, but at the same time, it's not like we always will be in this position. There's always hope for, like, a better tomorrow. And that's kind of what I try and, like, think is, like, not everything is over just because it's bad. And I wish that more people had that thinking, but at the same time, that thinking also can inspire, laziness and being like, well, if it's not over, then it's not urgent. We don't have to do anything. So basically, to sum up all of that, something's got to change soon about current how do I say it? Current ways of, dishing out wealth. Let's just say that. Current ways of, like, sending out money everywhere. And I think that, personally, we need to stop fighting wars, but, whatever. There's always going to be, a war being fought over some make-believe principle that, it's, you look at people in the face and you go, I want world peace. They're like, that's not possible. Thinking like that makes it impossible because people are always going to disagree. What? Who cares? There are people that are willing to disagree and kill each other for disagreements. And that's just human nature. And that's kind of why I think that we're both doomed and not doomed at the same time. It's just this beautiful, I feel like the things I think of are beautiful representations of both, like, just unimaginable horror that we're never going to be able to outrun and pure hope that we're going to see tomorrow. And everything's going to work out. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of sad sometimes because I get, if I have these two conversations of dread and hope that kind of go back and forth. Sometimes one is winning and sometimes the other is winning. And you feel dread at times where if it were a different time period, you would be, as happy as you could possibly be. Like, meaning that, like, how I would describe it right now is I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have college pretty much figured out. I have, amazing friends and family. Those are things that, I should, I don't want to take for granted, but I get so caught up in this just dread about other parts of the world that I feel like I can't do anything about. And that brings me down from all of these like good things where my life would be perfect if not for things that I have no control over and didn't cause. And I think that that's, you know, how a lot of people feel. You know, life, their life might be perfect and they just are stuck in this. Or you know, everyone still has their issues though. To be clear, I don't feel like any life is perfect, but like they'll be doing so well, but still feel so bad over things that they can't. They feel like they're just like it's above their pay grade. And that's awful. And then it makes, you know, unifying and doing hard things worse because let's say realistically if we wanted anything to change, we'd have to overthrow the rich with like physical force. We would have to stage, you know, a coup. I think the government is pretty corrupt, but I'll get to that in a second. But we'd have to do something physical, and people would pay the price of death to do that, right? And they live these perfect, self-contained lives, and they, you know, that shouldn't be asked of them because they've built everything they could possibly do for themselves. They have, besides that one thing, which is fairness. And they will be asked to pay an ultimate price, trade all those perfect things that they did for themselves to fix the problems that they were given. I'm going to move on to the totally like corrupt government thing now because I find that very interesting. And I'm not even talking about like current political things. Like it's always been bad. I don't know how. I think that more people are realizing it now with, you know, current administration. I feel like is a little more brazen about certain things. It's like wow, it's like way easier to like pick up on. Why is there so many iron chest plates on the seed? I'm just mob me. I'm not even gonna go for a insane pace. I might just try and beat the game at a God, I really am getting all helmets and chest plates right now. Oops, whatever, I'm not taking it. But you know, I'm gonna talk a little bit about just like some of the crazy stuff that is like, okay, first and like easiest one that I can point out is like Watergate. Like everyone knows it. Like Richard Nixon. Everyone really could get behind Richard Nixon as being like this con man who like, you know, broke the trust of American people. Like that one is like really easy for people to get behind. So let's start with that. Like, it's not just current day politics or a sham. It's kind of, they always have been, you know? Because if you put a certain amount of people in charge of doing something, and they have these other interests elsewhere that they could also benefit, that, you know, and they see direct benefits for the things for themselves, then they're gonna look at those things and they're gonna go, I'm gonna prefer to look at those rather than the things that don't affect me, right? So, you know, we would have to have such honest citizens for that to work. And to a certain extent, we get one every now and then. But nowadays I wouldn't necessarily give everyone the benefit of doubt. I can't remember his name right now because, you know, oh my god, there's so many iron helmets and chest plates here. But like he's like, I think that he's kind of like this face of liberal hope. It's like the New York governor, you know. It's like the one that everyone loves. I don't remember his name is evading me right now, but like, you know, if you know what's going on in the world, you know about the governor or the fucking the guy, just the dude, the good New York guy that a lot of people are like, yeah, he's saying all these things that make a lot of sense considering like where we are right now. Like it's and I think that you know, they like are all going towards this like what they are seeing as like a normal person being like, yeah, that guy's the man's people, you know. The man's people. Wow. I know that I'm like coming across a little brain dead sometimes, but it's just, you know, I am multitasking, you know, a lot of things at once. So, apologies for sounding like kind of a brain dead moron. I hope that it doesn't come across as fully that. But, like, you know, he might seem really cool, but you don't know what happens behind closed doors. Everything could be PR, you know. Even if he, you know, it's in his best interest to support the things that people have, you know, begun being like, oh yeah, he supports that. Like it's in his best interest to just be that person that they're all like already, you know, like, okay, let me describe it like this. He doesn't really, wow, let me describe it like this, and he just totally loses all function over his mouth. He doesn't really, if people aren't saying he's playing a role and they think he's this good guy, then the role he's playing could just be the good guy, even though he still is, just because it's working out for him. But like, who knows if politics were a different way, if he would be someone else, just to, you know, I don't really know. My research has not really done a lot into that guy. If it wasn't pretty obvious because I can't even spew his name out. But the point is, it's like, don't trust someone just because they seem to be the one who's like breaking a cycle. Because, you know, maybe breaking the cycle is just the best way for them to continue it. I just don't like politics. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I hate that so many issues become a political, quote unquote, issue because, and like aside, like the main two parties in America, you know, Democrats and Republicans will choose the yes or no end of it and be like, that's what our party's running on, when it could just be, hey, maybe this isn't about that, and we can just come together as one and fix an actual problem, rather than decide that, hey, it's wrong or not, along with, you know, like, I don't like grouping it with all of these other already established beliefs, just to keep people divided. I don't know. It just, anyway, back to politics being corrupt. So there's like there's, you know, entire, you could pick really anything you want to and find an example. I like, you know, there's the boys on the track. I think that's a really good one. You know, that's like when I think of like corrupt government stuff, because like that one is like, are we serious? We are keeping these, okay, so if you don't know, it's about like these two kids that are dead on a train track. A lot of things, a lot of evidence that like people who are just like pretty, you know, like normies who, you know about medical stuff. It's like, it's very obvious that these kids were like murdered, and based on the train tracks is like evidence of it. But they would, like, the people who supposedly did it are the people in power. So instead of like, you know, being like, yeah, whatever, open the investigation, they hide all the evidence to try and stop that, because they don't want that. So, and you know, they want to put the people in power in danger. Dropping all that. And like lose them, you know, their power. So just it's you know, a lot of people say it's a grand conspiracy. It's really just like not really a grand conspiracy. It's just pretty self-explanatory once you like put any pieces from anywhere together. It's just you know, corruption. But anyway, one of the so I think about that, and I think that it's kind of if they're willing to do that. And by the way, this is like it's like a small but big case because there's like a drug ring attached to it. It's like a whole other reason. It's kind of like a small but big thing. But the point of the point of it is that if they're willing to do something so heinous for something that's not really as big of a deal, what else are they willing to do? And it's just like when someone gets too powerful, they'd rather kill them than to let their live on again. You know, I think that if you could understand, you know, the Hunger Games, you kind of and probably it's, you know, if they destroy our hope, it becomes way easier to control us. So I think that's like why you know, MLK was killed by the government and like all these things are not it's like I just think that, like, I'm trying to think of other things. You know, there is there's like more conspiratorial ones, like John F. Kennedy, where it's like, you know, it's a little, it's also not. You know, like there's implications, but I don't think for sure knows. But it's at this point, like, you know, you can think of it as like they've already done so much other stuff. It's not impossible to believe that they would continue. But I don't know. Just a man thoughts. Oh wait, I forgot this is the dash is good. Oh wow. Trying to think of other like conspiracy stuff. I think that like I can't really think of words. It's just not coming to me. Wow. Fire red box. on the ground. Should I just leave with my phone? Do I want to risk it? I'll throw like a little. Trying to like. There's. Okay. I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about because keeping on the path is like just kind of walking around like. I think that a lot of people on the other side of the aisle hear that you dislike the current president for the things you've done and get really pissed. But you could dislike, dislike who you want. There's still problems that are like abundant, and I don't just deny that. Like, I don't think it's fair just to write off people's opinions as wrong because they said they dislike your person that you voted for, and I think that when you kind of criticize people for the political opponent the political party that they voted for, being the man they voted for, they take it as a sign of like they caused it. You're blaming them. They're part of the problem. So they'd rather, be like, well, it's not really my fault. They'd rather protect him because it protects themselves, and that's why people get so like uppity about like calling Trump out for his actions. They see it as an indictment about them. And I think that, please don't. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Him for real when I was just trying to make sure I didn't look at him. It's a time loss, but I'm not really going for a good time anyway. Safe. Am I safe? I'm probably safe. It's probably fine. I'm probably not gonna die. I just think that if you could look at the world in a way and feel all of the things I've talked about so far, and everything you feel is true, but they are very conflicting in how they make, let me say, there's subjects with different feelings, and those subjects can all have like facts and things that people can easily agree upon, but they might have different feeling to them, which causes the issue. And those differences are what people who run everything, like to push the most, because it keeps us non-united against the real issues. That would be if we thought, if all of us thought about them really logistically, would be pretty easy to solve, because most of these issues are hard to solve if we band are easy to solve if we just kind of lock in. I'm really not having. I really shouldn't be playing this game and talking at the same time. But it's not. It wouldn't be our price to pay, and we'd be able to figure it out easier if we just didn't have so many different feelings about the same. Not. I'm saying that there's things that aren't complicated, but the way we feel about them make them more complicated. That's the best way to put it. And it took me way too long to think about how to say that well, because my brain is actually focused on, because I'm on kind of a good pace for me right now, so just fire res? Why did I throw out so much fire res? Why don't I have enough obsidian? Ah, didn't think about that. Why? I'm like one off. I could probably find piglin in like the forest next to me. We'll be fine. I'll figure it out. It'll be okay. Kinda don't like this a bit. Please. Or to chest. I don't know what his state is. I like how this has turned more into a speedrun as I've gotten closer to getting an actual run than it has been about the yapping, but now for my best hint. No better than what I'm preaching. Hi, please. Get down here. Stop flying so far away. Oh. Far back. I look in. This is gonna be rough. I kind of want to go. Oh my god. Can you guys just stay? Oh wait. I'm not trying to fall. Well, I got like 3 failed attempts around. That I didn't hit, but why don't they like close? I don't want to get pushed off. No, I don't know why it's red now. Fuck. What the fuck? Like, that's bullshit. Okay, I'm breaking. Safely. Come here, buddy. Come here. I thought there was... What? Okay. We're just gonna have to go with 6 and hope it works out, right? How far would I be? Around? Probably not that far from the stronghold. We're putting a lot of... We're gonna really hope this works out for me here. If those last 3 blazes would have dropped a rod, it would have been really beneficial. Where is a guy that I could get a block him, then I can leave. Hi, buddy. Hey, buddy. Can you get him to go away? Okay. Oh, no way. Okay. I was like, this is gonna be a killer. Okay, let's not fuck up the portal or else the run will be dead. Okay, very carefully place all of that. This. What's that? Not too far from... that's great. That's great. Okay. We're just gonna go in this direction. I don't think it should be too far. I'm just gonna go to like 1,000, and throw another one. Maybe that's too far though. I don't know. All things considered, this is a good time, but it might already be dead if the stronghold doesn't work out, so... I mean, for my pace, this is a good time. Just do it in this, around this village. If another one breaks, it's gonna be even more, like, we're fucked, but... Oh, but this does have food. That is something that I need. And beds, but I'm really bad at killing the dragon with beds. I'm killing myself. So I'm a little worried about that. Do I still have... I do not even... Okay. I don't even have obsidian. I'm low-key... I'm a little rusty, if you couldn't tell. But... Wait, so then what am I getting beds for? Okay, well... I'll just fucking throw an eye. I'll just kill his ass normally if I have to. Okay, this way still. But I can't kill his ass normally. You know. I could kill the golem, but it wouldn't even give me enough for 2 buckets. Fuck. If I could get lava buckets, but then I would have to find a lava... Well, there's lava in the stronghold room, so I actually wouldn't have to find a lava pool, but... Maybe I should have killed that golem. Would have been smart. This is quite a far stronghold. Right? Maybe it is, I don't know. Let's try like around here. Okay, backwards. We're in the money now, kinda. I usually get... Problem with me is I'm really bad at the game, so I get you like right over it. Where seems like a good spot to dig down? Like right in this clearing of trees. Okay. Okay. Well, it didn't break. I think. Where did that shit go? I can't be really losing eyes right now. There it is. So, this way more. Okay. It's like right here. Do I risk another one by throwing it? Damn it. Okay. I'm just gonna dig like at the root of this tree. But no, run's probably pretty dead. If I would have gotten those glitches, I wouldn't be. But probably should have just gone for the last one for security. But do I? Okay, I still have my water bucket. always go off in caves. Oh shit. I was gonna say, I always go off in caves and find it. That actually worked out. Okay. We're looking okay. Let me grab some of this. Wait, silverfish, those don't spawn naturally, right? Those have got to be like the actual portal. No? Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. Oh, fuck. Alright. Okay. Okay. What do I do? Okay, hear me out. We're gonna just go up here and no, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I want to like what I'm trying to do is find a diamond, and then I can mine the obsidian in the portal room. Have enough for bed stuff. I might just have to go. Wait, I didn't even look how many fucking dickhead. Sorry, this has gotten way off track from like the ranting because I am okay. Let's see if we can even do it. We cannot, and I do one. Yeah. So it's over. That's actually I don't have enough. If I would have found a diamond in that, I would have been. It wouldn't even mattered. Wouldn't even mattered. God. I mean, I don't know if there's anything I could really do now. I guess I could build a second portal just for funsies. But I guess it's over now. This is actually a good metaphor. If you think it goes well, it doesn't. You know what this is a metaphor for is inch. Because you think about getting it, and if you don't, you end up getting pretty fucked. You know? It's kind of something everyone needs, but it's kind of the worst thing ever. And American healthcare is awful. Don't know why. It's just fucking capitalism, in theory, could not be as bad as it is. But we just decided to pick like really bad parts and just really hit home on making those. Oh my god. Okay. It's not over. It's not over yet. Okay. It's no fucking way. They linked. Okay. This is the most fucking all over the place speedrun, and it's probably not even gonna PB. That's the funniest part. We could still trade for the obsidian. Get the blaze rod. One blaze rod and we're golden. Oh, but what if it fucking goes back up to the other portal in the overworld? What if it doesn't take me to the one in the stronghold? I don't know how fucking portals work well enough to say whether that's gonna happen or not. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Fucking. Okay. Good. Bam. Let's. I think we're gonna go for trading, and then getting just like a few pieces of. It doesn't really. I mean, it's good chances because it doesn't have to be purely obsidian like the other shit. It just has to be. Let's not get hit by that guy actually. It just has to be one of the two, so it actually ups our chances of getting what we need to just leave. Let's not die to like a piglin either. That'd be pretty nice because that would make him a little angry. I'm not gonna lie to you. Is that guy? Come on, dude. Hey, dude, you've been like a savior earlier. Just need to do it another time if that's okay. I also don't really recall. I think I totally forgot where you place it. Like if it's just next to the concrete pillar. I think it's one of them. Fuck. Because you're trying to keep it out of the air. Dog, you gotta stay near the gold, dog. You gotta just trade me these pearls. Dog, you also gotta pick it up. Okay, here, take it. I I know I'm asking a lot. I know I'm asking a lot. I could have been better to you. I could have been better to you. But just this one time, man. Just this one time. This is the last time, I swear, bro. This is the last time, I swear. I swear to it. I swears to it. I'll pop fire rest for you. Pop fire rest. Come on, please. Please. Pretty please with a cherry on top, Laura. Please, I'm begging you, hands and knees. You could have all my gold. You keep that shit. Keep that shit. Please. God damn it. On my hands and knees, bro. On my hands and knees. Okay. I'm just, yes, but just a little more. Just that, but more plentiful in abundance, please. Don't give me the other type and give me like one either, just because I don't really want to swap back and forth. Okay. I don't need the flint and steel anymore. Just 2 more of either would be great, man, and I'll just be out of your hair. I'll let you out of the hole too. I'll do that. Please, brother. You're draining me right now. I think that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. It's fine. Okay, that's definitely enough. Wish it could be more in one than the other, but whatever. Done. No, not throwing my flint and steel. Fuck. Which way did it go? It went this way. We're just gonna follow it back. God, this is so stupid. Ah, whatever. It's fine. Compared to how my other runs went, we are still possibly PBing this, which is a nightmare for most people, but, you know, you take the little things in life, you know, and my thing is very little, and you could put that on my tombstone or something. I don't fucking know. Just fucking run this way and figure it out. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, there's really nothing I could have done but just roll with these punches. Well, except for be better earlier and not be a dumbass. Like, if this definitely would have PB'd or I would have died if I would have just had the 2 eyes. But at least now I definitely have obsidian. I think that I think maybe I should just like focus on putting in more courtesy in terms of, what am I thinking of? Putting in more courtesy in terms of gathering supplies before I just am like, yeah, no, fuck it, I'm good enough. And just, okay. This is a big problem. I don't know where I dug down. Oh, right here. That was I just jumped down that fucking hole. Fuck it. We're just going for it. See you later, portal. Alright. It's time to probably fail on beds because I'm really bad at it. You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna have these 2 open. Need the pick for a second. We're gonna start loading the inventory with beds. The axe. Fuck. Pickaxe too. God. Okay. Okay. Let's go get set up in the middle. Fucking pearl over there. Pearl over there. Fucking. God. Water. Where water? Oh, he's already. Lower terrain hit me. Goes off. So sad that I'm like. No way he's. Fly higher, bitch. Above the point where you could hit me. Okay. Oh, when did I draw my arrow? That's fun. Alright, well I guess it's live or die now. Probably a little more of the latter half. I don't want to stand in the middle, but okay. I know I'm really bad at this game, and you don't want to perch for me, but I need you to perch for me. Please don't. Please. Please. Please just perch. Just perch. I don't. One, I doubt I'll survive. Two, I doubt he will perch. Oh, also there's the other thing of there's a particular side to be on based on the time. I should probably. What I'm getting is I probably should have researched this. Oh my god. Oh my god. I fucking... Oh no. Oh fuck, I canceled it. I don't know how fucking fast it was. Oh. I split it on accident, like, wrong. Fuck, I'll have to look at it. Can I look at that? I don't... Oh my god, I guess I'll just have to put it in the run. I hit 3 instead of 1 more, because I don't finish runs. 46 minutes. Plus all of the fucking jargon during this entire run. There's no way. There's just gonna have to be someone sitting through that shit and being like, Jesus Christ. This person doesn't shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Well, I guess that's my PR. Or I don't fucking remember what I know my other one was in the 50s, so this is like a massive improvement. No way. Like I just hopped on randomly. Oh my god, that's actually sick. That's sick as hell. Yeah, with all the fuck ups that went on that time, I'm very happy. I guess I should start like yapping randomly in the middle of my runs, and then I do fucking good. We're gonna... Wow. Just, like, seriously, wow. If this footage corrupts, though, oh my god, I will cry. I will cry tears of dread. Thank you for watching this run. I know that this was, like, really a mess, but, thank you.